It always takes me a minute to get set up before I just jump into the video. But hi, this is Anthony Spoke Anthony. I hope everybody's doing well, having a great day. Now I want to talk about uh, Bobbi Althoff. I hope I pronounced her name correctly. Now, what I find interesting about her is that, you know what? Before I get into her, let me talk about myself for a second. And the main reason I want to talk about myself that um, people can change. Now, a lot of the times, it takes something very drastic or a life changing event for somebody to change. Now, some people can have a, just a natural awakening. Like for me, when I was younger, I grew up a very conservative Christian man. So much so that I maintained my sanctity, I guess you could say, until I was like 18 years old and I graduated from high school. And the main reason for that I came from a family of teen parents. My dad was a teen parent in high school, so was my grandma. So I wanted to break that cycle. I didn't want to be another part of that story. So I wanted to wait. And plus, on top of that, I was a very devout Baptist Christian, and I wanted to make sure that I stayed true and made sure I waited until marriage. Fortunately or unfortunately, after I graduated high school, I was on my own. Lust got the best of me, I guess you could say, and I got out in the streets and did a lot of stuff that I probably shouldn't have. But that was a change, right? And it wasn't just that. It was also the fact that, when I actually had to live out into the world and I saw how people are outside of my normal bubble, it changed me. So much so that a lot of friends I had to change because I saw what kind of hypocrites they were. I saw how, and what I mean by hypocrite, I always grew up with the belief that, you can make a mistake. You can ask God for forgiveness. And if he forgives you, which he will because he's God or Jesus or the Holy Trinity, whatever you choose to believe in, he's going to forgive you. But if you continue to keep making that same mistake, are you really sorry? So I will see people that will be holy on a Sunday morning, but sinful on a Sunday night. I will see people that will ask forgiveness for hurting their spouse and then go right back to doing it the next night just because dinner wasn't made right or they felt disrespected. I've seen people steal and do all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of behaviors, but yet somehow they felt like they were assaulted of all their sins because they went to church and prayed and forgave. And I saw that I can't even say the word right now. When I saw where they weren't being true to themselves and their faiths and beliefs, and I was trying my hardest to, it kind of influenced me in the wrong direction. But when it comes to Bobbi, she wants to have a conversation with Donald Trump. And I actually like that a lot. I like the fact that she's using her celebrity to want to have a conversation with Trump. Now, unfortunately, this came about because she had something that impacted her directly. And that's why I said in the beginning that a lot of times people don't change unless something drastic happens. It's pretty rare somebody changes because they just realize the error of their ways. It's normally a family member was hurt or they were hurt or they fell very, very down low or maybe they just didn't fall low. They actually elevated really high. People change because your circumstances change. Now, Bobbi said that she was a conservative Republican woman herself, and that her beliefs at 18 compared to her at 21 is much different. And I can understand that. You see how she was. Now, I'm not going to play any of her old videos of her kind of being a tried wife gold digger compared to how she just vibing out and enjoy being around people of color. And in fact, I didn't even know Bobbi was mixed. She has a Mexican mother, I think she says. But let's go ahead and listen to her video right quick.
All right, President Trump, if you're watching this, please keep watching. I am asking you to please sit down and have an interview with me. I think that perhaps you surround yourself with people who agree with you, and maybe you need to hear another perspective. And maybe I'm not the most educated person to offer that other perspective, but I do feel like, as someone who grew up very Republican, very conservative, very Christian, and as someone who has a lot of family members who also...
And there's an old saying that a lot of the times the wildest children are the ones that come from like a very conservative Christian home, or like the preacher's kids. They're normally really wild and crazy after they get away from their homes. And I kind of got into that too. But it's just the fact that she's one of the first influencers I've seen. Where do you think she's falling off or not? What do you think she's an industry plant or not? Plant or not, she's trying to have a conversation with a president that can actually help him. Because Trump is losing the youth. Let's be real here. Trump has lost the youth. Gen Z don't care. Gen Alpha is still too young to really care. But Gen Z is the next people that he needs to influence in a positive direction to make sure he can maintain any sort of power, because Gen Z is growing in numbers. And by 2026, if he's not careful, which I'm pretty sure all the damage has already been done, he has no hope of maintaining the power that he has. In fact, unless MAGA in general does a full rebrand, there's no hope at all. Thought I heard something, sorry. But let's continue.
So are that way still. I think that we can have a good conversation, and perhaps I can help open your mind to things that you are currently closed to. And I know that there are a lot of people who are going to be mad at me for even offering this interview or trying to get this interview, but I think that a huge problem is people not willing to speak to other people with differing beliefs.
And you know what? I actually agree with her on this point. Right or left right now, nobody is happy what's going on in the world. Well, I don't want to say the world, in America, in the United States. They narrowed it down in the United States. They're not happy what's going on in the United States right now. And it used to be a time to where, before Trump got into politics, people would have respectful conversation and respectful disagreements. Just look at the debates between Mitt Romney and Barack Obama, or Barack Obama and John McCain. There were respectful conversations and debates. But once Trump got in there, we lost that respect. We lost that decorum that we expected of our world leaders. And if Trump is in an echo chamber of people, yes men, are putting their own political beliefs, and he's just an old man, because let's be real here, Trump is an old man. He is 80 years old. And I said it plenty of times, there's no reason for anybody above the age of retirement to be running the country. There's no hope. And speaking of old men running the country, when you're that old, I don't think a conversation really do any good. I mean, the effort is nice, and if Trump is willing to try to appease him in some way, shape, or form, and depending on what she says, if 1% sticks, that's great. But when you're normally that old, you're stuck in your ways. No matter what a younger person says to you, you're not going to care. But most people that I've seen get on the internet, they will sit here and criticize Trump. They will berate Trump, but they won't actually try to talk to Trump. So at least Bobbi, who's not happy with everything that's going on, she wants to try to talk to him. And that's one of the few people that I've seen as an influence, as a large platform, that's willing to do to try to make a change, try to make things better. Now, I said earlier, this is because something has hit her personally home. And I'll get into that a little bit later, so just hang tight.
I grew up so Republican, so conservative until I met my ex-husband. And because he was willing to talk to me and just try to understand why my mind was so set the way it was, at 21, I completely did a 180 and realized that I didn't know everything and that I was wrong, and it's okay to be wrong and it's okay to change your mind. And I think that a lot of people get mad when people held beliefs and think they can't change their mind, but for this world to get better, people need to change their mind and open.
And I like how she actually speaks highly of her ex-husband. And And that speaks volumes to what kind of man he is. I have not once heard her speak bad about him.
In their mind and form new opinions. So I don't know. I would love an opportunity to try and speak to you, and obviously just, I don't know. I do think people can change. I changed. If you had met me when I was 18, it was a completely different person who held completely different views than I did at 21. When I met my ex-husband and he opened my mind, and he really did take the time to understand why I held the beliefs I did without looking at me like I was just a horrible person. Even though the beliefs I had, I didn't realize how hurtful they were to so many people. And even with a mother who is Mexican, I still had beliefs that were hurtful. And it's just, I have a lot of Hispanic Mexican family who holds these beliefs that are hurtful to their own people.
And and that's why I said before, I had no idea she was mixed. Her mom is Mexican, and that's cool to hear. But I kind of curious, what is her mom's beliefs? What is her mom's political views? Because a lot of the times when it comes to Hispanics for Trump, a lot of them probably regret their vote. So I'm kind of curious how her mom voted. Just me thinking out loud.
So, with all of that said, I'm just trying to do whatever I can to try to make a positive dent in this world, because I believe what is happening right now is very scary. All right.
It is very scary. She is 100% right in saying it is very scary right now. But this is why she feels it's very scary. And let's go ahead and get into the other video clip that she posted recently.
I just want to say thank you to all of the Republicans, the conservatives, anyone who disagrees with me, for continuing to follow me, to listen to me, even though you disagree with me. I think it is so important to listen to people who don't agree with you, because you are never going to change anything in this world if we all look at the other people like they are evil and we say we don't want to hear from people who disagree with us. And I think that a lot of liberals, and I'm going to get hate for saying this, are part of the problem, because I just want to look at those people and say, well, all of you are just horrible people who hold horrible beliefs, and I don't care to try to talk to you or try to understand where you're coming from, because you're a horrible person. And that is not to say that I do not disagree with things Republicans are saying, but
I'm kind of curious what was that edit that she did there. But, I don't like this whole entire point and blame when it comes to liberals or Democrats, Democrats or Republicans, conservatives. If we're just being really honest, right now we're in a time to where it's like MAGA and the supremacists versus everybody else. That's the times that we're in right now. So that's why I always say, I remember a while back, the Tea Party was a very big thing. The Tea Party was right before MAGA. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised people who are part of the Tea Party are part of MAGA. And I remember how extreme people thought they were at the time. They have nothing on MAGA. So whenever you're trying to point, and they're also a subsection of the Republican Party, so whenever you keep trying to point fingers at other lines, I can get into numbers and facts and stuff of that nature. I really don't care, because I do know some really great people who are conservatives or Republicans, but it's just the extremists are always, a lot of the times, I won't say always, a lot of the times on the right-hand side. And we don't ever talk about that or admit that. They always try to cover it up. And right now, Trump has coined a new phrase of radical Democrats, and it's being used to disguise the real issue in the country right now.
I think in order to change anything, we're going to have to change half of the world's minds to at least find common ground with us. And everything is so divided. And I said it's not a Republican issue, it's not a liberal issue. And all of my comments were from liberals being like, it is a Republican issue. Okay, making it divided is not helping anything. We have to come together as one and agree on certain issues. Let's not make...
You can't come together as one until you admit the problems in your house. You can't come together with somebody when you're dirty and have issues on you. And again, I don't believe in parties. I think if you're loyal to any party, you're pretty damn foolish, because both parties have their agenda, and most of the time their agenda does not overall help the average everyday working American. I want a party that represents America, America only. I'll leave it at that statement right there because I'm not going to get too deep into it. But we need a third party at this point. That's not bought out.
Human rights, a Republican or a Democrat issue. Let's make them an us issue. Whatever stance you have on immigration, fine, have that stance. I'm not going to try to change your mind about that, okay? We can have different opinions on immigration. Let's share the same opinion. Violating someone's Fourth Amendment isn't okay. The Constitution protects people against what they are doing right now. And yes, it's everyone on U.S. soil. If you're illegal, you're not then exempt from being protected by the Constitution. That's not how the Constitution works. Racially profiling people is not okay. It's not just illegal immigrants that are being racially profiled. If you are brown and you are standing outside of a Home Depot, which by the way, Home Depot is in collaboration with the government. So on another note, we should all be boycotting Home Depot right now because what they're doing is not okay. It's unethical. It's sad. We should all be able to agree that no matter what side we are on, right?
Home Depot has always had a problematic history. That's why most people go to Lowe's now. But I'm just surprised that the Hispanics still go there. What they know is going on with the administration right now.
Or left, how they are treating humans is not okay. And I think that there are a lot of people, I would like to believe that there are a lot of people on the right who are just oblivious to what is happening. Sure, there are a lot of them who know exactly what's happening and they don't care because they are heartless. Sure. But I am not speaking to those people. I'm speaking to the people on the right who truly believe that they are just targeting criminals, that they are just targeting people off of a list. And to those people, I would like to educate you on what is really happening. There is no list. They are targeting people with no criminal record. They are targeting people only based on their skin color.
And as a black man, I 100% understand that. They are strictly targeting people based off their skin color. You know, I made a comment not too long ago that, you know, a lot of people are getting a little taste of what it's like to be a black American. And I find it interesting. And, you know, Bobbi would be considered a traditionally attractive white woman. Like I said before, you wouldn't have known that she is half Hispanic. But I'm trying to think of the right way to say this, but when she started hanging around more black people, you notice a shift in her. And some people didn't like it, some people do. She's just being more honest to herself, and I can respect that because I know plenty of women who will marry and stay quote unquote faithful to their white husbands, but really be cheating with them with black men a lot. And at least Bobbi left her husband and decided to live her life how she wanted to. I'm pretty sure that crushed her husband. I'm pretty sure that was tough. But I can respect the woman that can try to be herself instead of being something that she told that she should be. Because, again, she had it on easy street. Her husband was a pretty rich guy, if I remember correctly. She didn't have to want or work for nothing. And she's white passing at that. Nobody would never guess that she's half Mexican. So again, she has every single reason to stay where she was at and stay quiet, but she chooses to speak up, and that's respectable.
And then they're detaining them. ICE agents and the government right now are breaking laws. They are breaking federal laws. They are targeting people based on their skin color, and for no other reason than their skin color, they are approaching them. And then they're taking these people who have no criminal records and they are detaining them. The person who I know, Felix, he has no criminal record. He was here for 20 years, has never broken a law. Okay? And do not come to me with he broke the law of coming here legally. By the way, it's not a crime to come here illegally. Entering the United States without proper authorization is generally...
I think the reason she cut this up so much is because she probably went off. She probably lost her stuff and went off, and she had to edit it back. But let's go ahead and pause it right here for a minute, and let's take a look at Felix. This is from her TikTok. And I'm not going to play the music because I played the video. It really is just slides, but that's Felix. If you want to change the world, you have to change minds, and you can't change minds unless you are willing to listen to them first. We are the people are rising. Stop the hate, stop the raids. March and rally Saturday, October 4th. Didn't know about that. 10 a.m. 6th Street Bridge, Matello side. Okay. I guess that's in California because I'm assuming that's where she's at. And then she has a little spiel about Felix right here. I know Felix since I was 7 years old. Felix is a hard-working, kind man or human. Felix is no longer being treated like a human. He was not on a list. He was not on their radar. He was racially profiled at Home Depot. They went up to a group of people who fit the stereotype and asked for their IDs. They took the man who... Oh, this is a long paragraph. Let's see. Where I leave off at. Oh, they took the men who didn't have ID on them. They never said who they were. They arrested them, and they were putting them back in an unmarked, tinted Nissan Altima. That's weird. That's not, I mean, like a normal police vehicle. All right, do not be naive. This is how immigration policies are being enforced in America. People say they are only taking criminals or there is a list. Most people in ICE detention right now have no criminal record. Non-criminal arrests gone way across the country. That is what happens when you profile people and grab whoever does not have ID instead of real probable cause. The Fourth Amendment protects everyone in this country from unreasonable search and seizures, even in immigration cases that need probable cause and neutral decision maker. When officers stop people because their race or how they look, demand papers without legal reason, or detain people without probable cause, they are breaking the law. This is not who we are. We are seeing raids at places at Home Depot where day laborers and target ways that are undeniable racial profiling. People need to wake up. You need to wake up. Okay. Like I said, I respect her for using her platform to try to speak up. Let me see. I can go back to the video.
I just want to say thank you. They're targeting people with no criminal record. They are targeting people only based on their skin color. And then they're detaining them. ICE agents and the government right now are breaking laws. They are breaking federal laws. They are targeting people based on their skin color, and for no other reason than their skin color, they are approaching them. And then they're taking these people who have no criminal records and they are detaining them. The person who I know, Felix, he has no criminal record. He was here for 20 years, has never broken a law. Okay? And do not come to me with he broke the law of coming here illegally. By the way, it's not a crime to come here illegally. Entering the United States without proper authorization is generally just a civil violation, not a criminal offense. So, with that said, a lot of these people have no criminal records, and they're being approached only because of the color of their skin, and then they're being detained in facilities which I know firsthand are not amazing, and the people there, some of them are very kind, some of them are assholes. Some of them are so mean and so void of any compassion for others. They're being detained in these facilities for months and months on end. I think a lot of people have it in their mind, at least when I was a Republican, 8 years ago, I had it in my mind that being deported meant you take these people and then they're treated like humans and then they're just put on a plane back to their home country. That was what I had in my head as the idea, and I think a lot of people have that as the idea, and they were only taking, in my mind, criminals or people that were like, as they were entering the US, when they saw they were coming in illegally, they were taking them and they were putting them back on a plane or denying them access, whatever. I'd never in a million years would have believed that is what they are doing today. All of this to say thank you for listening to what I'm saying, even if you don't agree with me, and to the Democrats, And the Republicans who are just so set on being divided and so set on not listening to other people, I encourage you to listen to people who don't agree with you, because I think that is the first step in not having so much division between us. I think that there was a time in this world where both sides weren't just so angry at each other all the time and could not listen to one another.
She is right in a sense. When I was younger, I used to have political debates with people all the time. I used to enjoy doing it. I would enjoy why I would support the causes that I did. But then once I got older and you start living in the world and you start doing critical thinking and you start realizing that sometimes the facts aren't really facts. There are opinions with sprinkles of facts in there that are just straight out lies. It makes it seem like that you realize that red or blue, they're playing for the full, they're playing for the same team, right? Because I guarantee you, whoever gets in the office after Trump, if somehow we still manage to have an election somehow, that they're going to do whatever they can. Excuse me. They're not going to do whatever they can to reverse a lot of things that Trump did. I can see it. Because secretly, deep down inside, that's what they all wanted. When you have 250, I think it was, of our U.S. senators going over to a certain country to see a meeting and some slideshows, it kind of shows you where we're at, right? But anyways, you guys tell me what you think about this. I wish more people would come out and speak up about this, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe. I think I'm going to do a video next about the Trey Reed situation. There's some updates about that, new autopsy report, and yeah, like, comment,